Thousands of people given blood that was contaminated with lethal viruses, including HIV and hepatitis, despite warnings given to the medical authorities. An independent inquiry will get underway today to see if 4,500 haemophilia patients were exposed to illnesses. Nearly 2,000 people who were given samples of this blood have since died. Aruj Defricha reports.
Robert Mackie is a haemophiliac with HIV. He got the virus after receiving contaminated blood in the 1980s. He's convinced he was used as a human experiment.
We were obviously just used as guinea pigs for research into the AIDS virus.
If I had been informed of the seriousness and the devastating effect that AIDS has got on the human anatomy, I would never, ever have taken that product.
4,500 people with haemophilia were given contaminated blood in the 70s and 80s. 2,000 of them have since died of HIV or hepatitis C. Many still don't know that they've been infected with hep C. It's believed many of these haemophiliacs became infected through supplies of blood from prisoners in America. These prisoners were allowed to sell their blood, although there were questions over their health. Today's privately funded inquiry will look at whether doctors knew of the dangers of giving patients contaminated blood, but did nothing about it.
Well, Andrew Marsh has haemophilia and was given blood contaminated with HIV when I think I'm right in saying you were just 9 years old.
Yes.
You didn't know that at the time, obviously, and your parents didn't know that, otherwise they would never have let it happen.
No. They wrote to us in May 1983 asking us to go to the hospital for an AIDS test, and I'd been receiving regular injections of Factor VIII, a blood product designed for the treatment of haemophilia, which turned out to be contaminated.
Now, you're only 9 years old, but can you recall your parents' reaction when they found out that you had to go for an AIDS test at the age of 9?
They were completely devastated, and I do believe they walked around feeling almost catatonic for several years.
I can well imagine. What about you? How are you? I mean, because you're also exposed to, because of this Factor VIII blood clotting agent, you're also exposed to CJD.
Yes, I have received medicine that was taken from a donor that subsequently went on to develop symptoms of variant CJD. I just think I'm quite angry about that, actually, because that came later. That came from sort of blood products from 1990 and the identification of variant CJD in 96. It was wholly avoidable.
Well, it was wholly avoidable. I mean, Lord Winston, the distinguished physician, has called this the worst treatment disaster in NHS history. And it's made even worse than that because it now emerges that the Department of Health at the time were warned about this, and yet, despite that warning, they carried on with offering these samples of contaminated blood brought in from America.
Indeed. They had multiple warnings stemming back to 1974, 1975. These warnings came from America, from eminent physicians there. Later on, the warnings came, still in good time, they came from America, they came from the Council of Europe.
Do you subscribe to the view that one other contributor made in that clip we saw there, that you were perhaps guinea pigs, that they knew they knew what they were doing and they wanted to see what the reaction might be in you?
The haemophiliac community have almost certainly been used as in place of rather expensive chimpanzees, which were £10,000 each, becoming an endangered species, and now we're becoming an endangered species with only 300 or so of our numbers left. With 66% mortality rate.
Well, indeed. I mean, nearly 2,000 people who were given Factor VIII, this blood-clotting agent, have since died.
Yes.
It is a major... I mean, if these allegations are proved to be true, this is a huge, major scandal.
Yeah, yes, it's disgusting.
Well, I'm not surprised. You're remarkably calm. But of yourself, physically, you're getting by, yeah? You're OK?
Yes. It's more psychological and mental. The virus is collectively a huge responsibility, yes, I'm not doing too badly.
Yeah, well, you look to be doing great to me. Thanks very much indeed for coming in and talking about it and confronting it and alerting other people to the problem.